We're here to talk about The Forgotten Maggies, which is your film, and it's I'd say lots of people have seen, you know, the Magdalene Laundries film that's been going around for years.
Yeah.
I'd say lots of people have seen it, been affected and touched by that, like the Raggy Boy and that kind of thing. So what have you done with this film now? I know it's going to be seen on Wednesday, the 8th of July in the Town Hall Cinema, the Courthouse Square in Galway. But what have you done with this film that I'm sure will add to what we know?
Well, quite rightly, as you pointed out, a lot of people would be familiar with the Magdalene sisters, and I suppose where we come in is we pick up at that point where the women have left the laundry and basically gone on to live their lives independently of coming out of the institutions. So I suppose from our point of view, the documentary will focus on the human rights aspect of the Magdalene Laundries, and it just shows how the church and the state colluded to remand and keep these women against their will.
A form of slavery?
Yeah, basically, it's a form of slavery, and it continued up until as late as 1996 in Ireland, when we had a booming economy and the so-called Celtic Tiger. We had these women locked up and slaving away in institutions and not being paid, not being given a pension, not being given any kind of form of liberty or rights or justice as the industrial schools are experiencing at this moment in time. So just ask the important questions of why these women have never received a public apology from the state or indeed redress from the church. And as young people in Ireland, we just believe that it's absolutely essential that these women are acknowledged publicly and openly in a way that other survivors of institutional abuse have been acknowledged. And we just feel that up to this day, they have never been given that opportunity to speak. So we kind of, I suppose, in a sense, followed them to find out exactly what their story was and how they lived their lives after the laundries. And we just come across four, I suppose, very endearing and very emotional women who have been severely psychologically and, I suppose, mentally, socially scarred from their experiences of being in the Magdalene Laundries.
The interesting thing in this film, from what I read, is that you kind of focus on what happens to them when they're closed and they're left and they're damaged and that's it now. They're no longer there. And they're left to make their own way in life.
Well, yeah, exactly. It just looks at the relationships or how hard it was for them to build relationships with, let's say, partners or family members after they got out of the laundries, or just indeed how society saw them in the respect of that these women were actual sinners. But we know from the study of doing the documentary that this is completely false, in the sense that a lot of these women were actually taken in off the streets and put to work within half an hour, and as I say, they never got any opportunity to question why that actually took place. And we pick up the documentary where we meet a woman actually from Carlow who has been trying for the last, let's say, 10 or 15 years to try and get justice for the injustice that she has suffered with regard to these institutions. And basically from that then we follow Maureen and her journey in trying to kind of, I suppose, get the answers to the questions that have never been answered by either the church and the state. And I suppose because I was so unfamiliar myself as a young person in Ireland with regard to these institutions, I was completely open to the fact of what she was saying, and then everything that she relayed back to us, then I suppose we kind of investigated or dig deeper into the whole idea of the Magdalene Laundries, and it kind of transpires in that, you know, some of the things that she's saying may or may not have been true, and you kind of just follow that whole idea of questioning, you know, why is it that this woman in modern 21st century Ireland is not being given the opportunity or the chance for her voice to be heard, or indeed have justice for the injustice and the human rights that were taken away from her, like her liberty, the freedom of expression, the right to even vote. Like, I mean, these people would not have been given any right to vote when they're inside the institutions. And it's just those aspects. And as the documentary kind of, I suppose, goes on, and we develop it, and the bigger understanding that we get of the institution, we find ourselves over in England, and suddenly we're interviewing, you know, 3 or 4 women who have similar experiences to that of Maureen, and, you know, have, I suppose, the same injustice put on upon them. But as I say, there's one of the women called Kathleen Lake, for example, and she had never told her family or her husband, who she was married to for 38 years, that this actually happened, or kind of why she's having such bad nightmares and waking up in the middle of the night with cold sweats because she saw this person in black standing at the end of her bed, and that brought her obviously back into the time that she was inside the institutions where she was denied her right to education, and as I say, the nuns had her working in the laundry slaving, and even though they promised her family at the time that they would give her an opportunity in life that maybe her family couldn't give her, they actually did completely the opposite. And I genuinely believe, as a young person living in Ireland, that these women need to be acknowledged in the exact same way that we have not acknowledged people within the industrial schools and other survivors of abuse that have been acknowledged by the state and the church. And I genuinely feel that it has not been done at this point. So we challenge that, and we come back from the experiences that we've gathered from these women, and suddenly I suppose the plot thickens in terms of, well, actually, isn't that funny how Maureen said that, or isn't that funny how Kathleen said that, but these two women have never met each other, yet they have the same story, they have the same journey, they have the same understanding or outlook on life, but yet we as an Irish society completely have neglected them and let them down in their right to live in their country as individuals and be recognised as individuals and be recognised for the injustice they have suffered. But for some reason, Irish people have this tendency to let's brush it under the carpet. It was 30, 40, 50 years ago. Big deal. You didn't get an education. That doesn't matter. You know, we've moved on. Why are you talking about this? And what we're saying is that, no, let's talk about this. And as young people, we feel it's absolutely essential that these women are heard.
And then of course, Stephen, you hear all the concern about, young women being trafficked into the country to be used as sex slaves or whatever. I mean, sure, what's the difference? We were picking young women up, young women in trouble. They were told they were sinners and they were enslaved.
Well, I know for a fact from the women that we interview now, for example, and we just take Maureen's case, she was promised a better education by the nuns that took her from her school. And even though she was getting, was there proper education at the time, the nun said that if you come down to this industrial school in New Ross, we will give you a proper education. She, like one or two of the other women in the documentary, was taken straight away into a Magdalene Laundry, and basically from the age of 12 up to 14, she was slave-driven into, I suppose, making a profit for these organisations to keep open. And even though we would be in the understanding that these charity organisations, which they're called, were giving these women something back into life, we actually realise that they haven't. And I just wonder today, does the Catholic Church really have a role in Ireland, in the modern 21st century Ireland? Does the Catholic Church really have a role if they cannot stand up and say, do you know what, you've done something wrong? It's absolutely appalling that in the past this happened, and we will try to make sure that this never happens again. But you can't do that until you actually acknowledge every single person who has been a victim of institutions, and I just feel that the men and women have been completely neglected, but I say.
Yeah, because there are many people now who question if the Catholic Church should ever have had any role in Ireland.
Well, exactly, and I mean, that's where we come in then, like, again, looking at it from a completely, I suppose, outside point of view, is that, I mean, fair enough, you would question the authority of the Church and what they did and all that, but you do ask yourself the question, where was the state? Where was our role?
Looking on, Stephen, the question is answered enough times, looking on.
Well, exactly, this is it, and in the documentary, as it unfolds, you discover that there's been laws, legislation, and acts that were in place at the time to protect these women like Maureen, Kathleen, Mary King, and Mary Collins, and her mother Angela Collins. But ultimately, as you say, they just stood aside and let the church do what they wanted to do, and I think it's an absolute shame. And the documentary really, really does highlight that in the last 3 or 4 years, because that's the focus of where the documentary picks up, that the church, the state, the local authorities, the organisations that the so-called help you for if you feel that you have an injustice done by them, aren't really doing anything. And what really has changed in Ireland, the paper might have changed, but the colour is still the same.
Listen, Stephen, thank you very much for joining us.
No problem. Just before I go, I want to say that there will be a march in Carlow on the 23rd, which is tomorrow at 10 a.m. from Ask-A Parish Church. It is in memory of all the people that were in institutions, and it will go down Tulloch Street, up onto Barrack Street, and it will then go back onto the church where there'll be wreaths laid, and there'll be 50 doves released into the sky by, I think, a wreath burned. And if there's anybody today that feels touched or feels that they want to get in contact or maybe go down to the march and give solid support for anybody